Are there really 17 reasons to not move to Caldwell, Idaho? We're gonna get after that right now and figure out if that's true or not. What is up, everyone? Curtis Chism here, and I ran across this article online that was 17 reasons not to move to Caldwell, Idaho. And frankly, I thought it was hilarious when I read it. I think it was probably generated by an AI bot to put out blog posts. So I think it's really important that we go through this and figure out if it's real or not. Maybe some of these points are actually valid and maybe they're not. So we're gonna dive through and figure out what's real, what's not. Let's give you the real scoop on living in Caldwell, Idaho. Is it a safe place to live? Is it run down? Is it expensive? We're gonna dive into all that and figure out whether or not that's true and kind of debunk a lot of these things that are probably written by an AI bot. So let's see if they're true or not. Again, my name is Curtis Chism with the Chism team here in San Diego. My team and I help people relocate to the Treasure Valley and Boise area, including Caldwell, Idaho. If you're thinking about making a move, please reach out to us via phone, text, or email. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what your lifestyle is, what your budget is. Let's figure out the best place for you to move to here in the Treasure Valley, whether that's Caldwell, Idaho, or somewhere else right here in Treasure Valley. My team and I get calls all the time from people just like you looking to make a move. I myself moved from California, and we absolutely love helping people move to the Treasure Valley area. Let's get after the 17 things of why it's a terrible place to live in Caldwell, Idaho. And real quick, don't forget to hit subscribe. We're dropping new videos every single week, videos like this about the neighborhoods and cities around Idaho and whether or not they're good places to live, so you can figure out what the best place is for you and your family to move to Idaho and to live here in the Treasure Valley. All right, let's dive into the 17 reasons not to move to Caldwell, Idaho as voted by the locals. So this is suggested by locals.com. I think it's important to take a look and see if it's real or not, whether, maybe you don't want to move to Caldwell. Maybe it's a terrible place to live. So here we go, number 17, and we're heading all the way down to number 1, overpriced restaurants. Caldwell is a small town compared to the rest of Treasure Valley, and because of that, there are many small businesses. And since they're small businesses, their prices tend to be high. Okay, so you're saying like there's not a lot of McDonald's, Burger Kings and Jack in the Box, that kind of thing around here. Well, okay, so we've got smaller restaurants here in Caldwell, but they are wonderful. And yeah, they're not the cheapest. They're certainly going to be on par with what you're going to find in Boise. Frankly, not that different from what you're going to find in California as well. So number 17, yeah, I don't know if I'd call it overpriced compared to McDonald's maybe, but certainly on par for what you're going to be getting here in Treasure Valley. So I don't know if I would consider it overpriced, but not cheap at all. But anyway, so number 16, unpredictable weather conditions. Caldwell, Idaho is known to have severe versions of all 4 seasons, which comes with very unpredictable weather conditions in the transition seasons like spring and fall. There's no way to know what the weather is going to be like that week. Well, that's the Treasure Valley. It does change all the time. Unpredictable. Okay, yeah, it changes. I don't see that as a negative. Maybe you see it as a negative. I did come from San Diego where the weather was pretty much the same all the time. Of course, that's not really true, but we like to tell people that. But it certainly was fairly consistent. But it can get really hot in Caldwell and all Treasure Valley. And what's interesting is it actually gets really hot later in the day. So as you get into 5, 6 o'clock, that's when it can get the warmest times of the year in July, August. It can hit 105, 107 degrees quite regularly, and it doesn't cool down that much. And then it'll snow in the wintertime, of course, but we only get about 16 inches of snow a year. Number 15, College of Idaho is extremely expensive. Well, it's a private college, so yeah, it's going to be more expensive, but you don't have to go to that college if you don't want to. So I don't know why that makes Caldwell a negative. That's only if you decide you want to go to that specific college and attend private college there. The town is becoming old and run down. Okay, this one cracks me up because I'm like, when was this written? And it was written July 2022, so just right here recently. That is absolutely not the case. I don't know where they took this picture from. I grew up, born and raised San Diego. Spent a lot of time in Tijuana, Mexico. TJ, This looks like it was taken down in TJ, so I'm not sure where they got this picture from. Check out Indian Creek Plaza. This place is amazing. Look at this. I mean, oh man, they got great concerts, great restaurants. They got the splash pad for the kids. You can buy drinks and sit there and listen to the band play. It's amazing. I mean, these buildings were $30,000 15 years ago. Now they're selling for well north of $1 million, close to $2 million now for these commercial buildings. It is absolutely not becoming old and run down. This is probably one of the number one things to debunk in this article. Caldwell is certainly on the up and up and improving all the time. So not becoming old and run down. 13 needs more freeway exits. If you happen to miss the first exit in Caldwell, know that you're going to have to drive another 5 miles to get off the next exit. Okay, I mean, that's not exactly true. There are more exits than that. So I don't know where they're coming up with this. Again, this is some AI bot, probably, that's coming, just scanning the internet and trying to figure out how to write an article. Number 12, locals may be unwelcoming. Caldwell is a small city, which means that its residents are usually pretty tight-knit. Because most of the residents are very tight-knit, newcomers may feel unwelcome or shut out. Well, okay, here's the thing. If you just moved here from California and you got your California plate still on, you might, get a few middle fingers, that kind of thing. I never had when I moved here with my California plates on. It took me a long time to change them over because I had a financed vehicle. They had to get my electronic title from California, and then they had to mail it to the DMV in Idaho. It took forever. So I never had any unpleasant feelings here from the locals. When you actually talk to people that live here, they're the most welcoming people ever. I don't know how they come up with how they might be unwelcoming. Number 11, public schools are underfunded. So Idaho is one of the lowest funded states as far as what they fund their public schools. So the school systems are not the most amazing here as far as the public school systems, but they're actually decent even though they are underfunded. And there are a lot of private school and homeschool and charter school options available that are certainly much more well funded. So that's not wrong. I wouldn't say they're wrong there. Number 10, not enough focus on extracurricular activities in the Caldwell School District. There are 6,600 students overall. This includes elementary, middle, high school. Due to the small number of students, there's not enough focus on extracurricular activities, sports. There's a very active sports program here in Caldwell. It's fine. Number 9, little to no recreational activities. Many of the people that are from Caldwell can agree that Caldwell can use a lot of improvements when it comes to recreational activities and building upgrades. There's just not a lot to do in this small city. Every year, downtown Caldwell is decorated with Christmas lights that run down the river. They just installed an ice skating rink. That's at the Indian Creek Plaza. So, are there a lot of recreational activities? There's certainly a great rec center system here, and it's not that far out to the trails for mountain biking, and you're not that far over to get to Boise River and the Greenbelt system. So in Caldwell itself, are there tons of recreational activities to do in the town itself? Maybe not so much, but very quick to get to places that do have it. Dangerous intersections. There are a number of intersections throughout Caldwell that are known locally for being extremely dangerous due to lack of stoplights, stop signs, and reckless driving. While this is going to be addressed with construction in recent years, there are still many places in downtown Caldwell that you have to be very careful. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think this is probably the case anywhere. You got to be careful when you're driving. There's certainly not like just a bunch of dangerous intersections in Caldwell, but all right. No sense of community. This one is, frankly, most people in this area like to keep to themselves and are not known to be friendly. Of course, it really depends on the exact area and neighborhood. Some people in this area are known to be disrespectful and rude. This is just wrong. That's not the case at all. Everyone I've met from Caldwell are absolutely wonderful people, and they have a very strong sense of community. All right, number 6, large amounts of construction. While it's important to update the city as much as possible, there's so much updating going on at once, it's very difficult to get around when getting stopped by traffic. If you're trying to make it to work on time, it's important to leave early. Well, there is a lot of construction going on. They are trying to improve the infrastructure in Caldwell to handle the influx of people. There's about 60,000 people in Caldwell right now, and so they're doing the best they can to expand the roads. There are a lot of stop signs, a lot of country roads, so you can get kind of backed up at the stop signs as you're trying to get around. You might be on a busy road trying to turn on it. You might sit there for 10, 15 minutes trying to get on the main highway, like Karcher, for instance. So that's not a really construction issue, but they are trying to fix that with the construction. So definitely not wrong here, but they're trying to improve the infrastructure. It may be challenging to find a job. It may be challenging for someone that's looking for a lucrative job or living to find a job. If you're looking for a more specific profession, it's recommended you live in a larger city. If you're fine working for McDonald's, you'll have no problem finding a job here. Yeah, not exactly true. There's plenty of job opportunities. That being said, if you're looking for higher wage jobs, then you're going to be tending to commute into the Boise area. There's also a lot of construction jobs available, which pay pretty well too. Number 4, low minimum wage. The minimum wage in Caldwell, Idaho is $7.25 per hour. If you're a college student in Caldwell, it'd be very difficult to afford going to college like College of Idaho with a minimum wage job. Well, of course, but no one's really paying for their college on a minimum wage job. Unfortunately, they probably have student loans with the hopes that they're going to get a really well-paying job when they get out of college. So it's a kind of a weird comparison to make there. And also, frankly, there's an advertisement for McDonald's right now starting at $15 an hour. So yes, the minimum wage is low, but in reality, employers know they have to pay more in order to get people to work because no one wants to work anymore after the pandemic, and there's a major labor shortage. Number 3, housing market is going up. The average price of a home in Caldwell, Idaho is around $350,000. 10 years ago, the average price was much lower because there are large numbers of people in states like California. They're raising the prices of the home in many parts of Idaho. Well, yes, the housing market is certainly going up, and actually it's way more than $350,000. The average price of a home in Caldwell, Idaho is closer to $500,000 actually. So this is actually wrong. This is more expensive. And prices were much cheaper 10 years ago. And a lot of it's because Californians are moving here, which frustrates the hell out of local Idahoans because of all the Californians moving here. So yes, it is getting expensive. That being said, at the moment, the market's been shifting and it's certainly a much more balanced, shifting into a buyer's market, and prices are coming down for a bit of a correction. Number 2, highest death rate for skydiving. That's an interesting one. If you are trying to find something fun to do in the Caldwell area, skydiving is an option, but it is not recommended. Caldwell has the highest death rate for skydiving. It's considered very unsafe. Leave your skydiving adventures to other cities. To be honest, I don't know if that's true or not. Skydiving is a risky activity no matter how you cut it. I've never skydived, don't know that I ever will. So I don't know. I don't know if it's any more dangerous to skydive in Caldwell. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Higher crime rate compared to other places in the Treasure Valley. Supposedly this is true, but it's minimal. A lot of the information out there is very old information from the 80s and 90s. There were issues that occurred in Caldwell. There were some drive-by shootings in Caldwell, as well as other cities, but it got heavily reported on in Caldwell because the big newspapers weren't in Caldwell and they had to report on something. So they kind of made Caldwell look bad. It's just really not the case anymore. But do your research. Crime in Caldwell is super low. And a lot of stuff, when you look into the data, a lot of it's talking about identity theft as being a big one, which can happen absolutely anywhere. But do your research. I've always felt extremely comfortable in Caldwell, and I think you probably will too. Well, drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the 17 reasons to not move to Caldwell, Idaho. Are there reasons for you not to move here? Are you going to move here? What do you think? Did I go through everything correctly and I answer all your questions? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, I am a real estate agent here helping people move to the Boise area. If you're looking to move to Caldwell or somewhere else in the Treasure Valley, Eagle, Nampa, Kuna, Meridian, Boise itself, I'm here to help you, and my team's here to help you navigate that move to Idaho just like I did myself, and how we help other people do the same thing. So reach out, whether you're 9 days out, 90 days, or even 2 years out. Let's have a conversation. Let's get to know each other. Let's figure out the best place for you to live here in beautiful Treasure Valley. And don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video so you can get notified every time we drop a new video, so you can find the best area in the Treasure Valley that works for you. And we'll see you on the next video.